Hi guys, I'm Joshua Gilyard. If you see me on the street, you can call me Joshua, Sebastian Reynolds, or Queen of the Ratchet, and this is an outpour of my story. My coming out story may be interesting to most because at an early age, I had an attraction to men. I've always felt like I was born this way. In middle school, I used to say that I was 1% bi because I was a little afraid. I grew up in the church, so I was a little afraid of accepting who I was. So when I got in high school, those feelings didn't go anywhere. And I didn't necessarily get to come out like a lot of people, like I am gay. I kind of got told I was gay just based off of my mannerisms and based off of the way I carried myself. I remember it was 12th grade year and I walked into the building and everyone was kind of looking at me. The energy was kind of off, and one of my friends came up to me and said, "They know that you have a crush on Moses Long." Moses Long was the captain, one of the quarterbacks of the football team. So I kind of stood proudly and said, "Fuck it, I'm out. So I'm just gonna walk proudly and be who I am." And yeah, I didn't get to have like this coming out moment because I felt like people pushed me out. And I just had to accept it, which sucks because I always wanted that feeling. But yeah. I am originally from a very small hodunk town called Palatka, Florida. My journey to Atlanta is filled with trials and tribulations. Palatka, Florida is a very small, very racist town that I just wanted to get out of. I was a small fish. A big fish, yeah. I was a big fish in a very small pond that no one understood. Black, white, and I was just ready to get out there. I finished college in Gainesville, moved to Jacksonville, and I was just ready to get out of Florida. I was traveling around doing a lot of like children's theater in Kentucky and in Virginia and did a lot of musical theater. And I just realized, I was like, I still really want to be, even though I love being an artist, I still want to be famous. And it's not that I want to be famous because I want people to know my name. I want to change the world, as cringy and sad as that sounds. And I was like, well, I don't really have the money yet to go to LA. Atlanta's popping off for black people. Let's go to Atlanta and see if we can get on a show with Tyler Perry. Being in Atlanta has taught me to step into my purpose. I believe that everyone is here for a purpose. And I have made a lot of mistakes being in Atlanta. I've made a lot of failures being in Atlanta. I wouldn't change it. Atlanta taught me how to be a businessman, and it's still teaching me how to be a leader and a businessman and just step into my purpose and stop hiding behind my talent, because life is so short and we're all here for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, but I feel like I understand my purpose in this world. I've had a lot of viral moments, but my first big viral moment, I think, had to be one of my Christmas parodies. Because I write parodies for Christmas, and I write different parodies. I'll take a song and make it into something different. And I wanted to try writing music, and I put it out there and people started liking it, and it felt, I didn't know how to take it. I didn't know how to like feel about it, because I talked to my therapist and my life coach about that. Is sometimes when we're running towards greatness and we finally get to it, it's like at that moment I didn't ever expect it to happen, and I was like, oh wow, this is happening. What am I supposed to do with this? And a lot of the times I step I'm stepping more into that. Like, I am meant to be here. People are meant to see me, because for a while I felt like people weren't seeing me. And I was like, wow, this is happening. People are actually liking my work. For a really long time, they weren't liking my work or seeing me. And it felt weird. And I didn't know how to appreciate that moment and just live in that moment of just appreciating that people saw my work. Carving out my own lane, and still trying to carve out my own lane, was figuring out, well, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? What do I want? Like, if I die today or tomorrow, what do I want to leave this world with? In my first show that I did, Side by Side, it was all about a heterosexual man and a homosexual man, black, two black guys on different sides of the spectrum, coming together and making a friendship. And that was the message in that show. And with my comedy, even though there's a lot of sometimes cussing and a lot of like different things, it's always like, okay, what am I trying to tell these people? What am I trying to get them to grasp? Even if they're offended, what is the message that I want to leave them with? So a lot of my work and a lot of me carving out my brand is, what is the message that I'm trying to say? And how do I put people that aren't seen on? How do I make plus size women that people don't necessarily notice being able to be seen more than they're already seen? How do I show that a dark-skinned black guy that isn't that masculine can be a lead in a show? Well, there's no one like me on TV. Let me make that happen. How do I show love, black gay love in a different way that's not already being shown? So a lot of it just has to do with the message that I'm trying to get across. Queen of the Ratchet started as a joke on Vine because it was me being irritated by not being seen or not going viral. And it started at me looking at Nicki Minaj and how she used to say she was the queen of rap. Y'all can't touch me. So I would say stuff like that, like, I'm the queen of the ratchet. You guys can't touch me. And it started out on Vine, and from there, I started doing the voiceovers and everything because I was like, this is funny. I'm having fun with this. And it all started out as a joke until the first video went viral. And I was like, oh, people are watching this like this is an actual show. Let me develop this, and what is the message that I'm trying to say in this? And basically, the message of Queen of the Ratchet is creating this world that people just aren't filtered. We're so filtered in society, and we're so scared to really say what's on our mind. And what if fairy tale people, because a lot of fairy tales and a lot of Disney stuff has made us believe that the world is a certain way and we have to live a certain way, and it's not that way. What if we aren't filtered at all and people just said what it was, whether it be cussing or whether it be an F-bomb, or what if they're talking about privilege and different things that are going on? And that was just it. Like, it was like, it's a lot of my pain. It's a lot of how angry I am as a black gay man. And it's my therapy in a lot of ways. 38,000 subscribers later, I am still in awe that it has reached this point. But I credit that to just hard work and getting back up when things didn't work. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this, and if it fails, okay, let me figure out how to maneuver it and try something else. So I accredit my following and my followers to just being authentically myself and working hard to just stay true to who I am and who I am as an artist. And I think that's why so many people follow me, is because I'm just trying to relay my message and authentically be myself, because that's all I can be. I'm not trying to be anything else but that. What inspired me to do the Disney characters, specifically the Disney villains, because I don't necessarily stick with the Disney princesses, is one, I always felt like people like Cruella or the stepmother and Ursula, it's like they don't get to really tell their story. And I was like, man, especially the Cinderella one where she comes into the room and Cinderella's just like standing there. And it's like, she just looks like she wants to say, shut the fuck up, and just go in on her. And it's just that face that we all make, but Disney has made it very G-rated. And I'm like, well, what if she actually said that? Or when Cruella burst through Anita's door, it's like, she's just so unfiltered and just so like, bitch, what's going on? I heard you was talking shit. And it started to become that, where I was like, I want to tell their story, because all they're seen as is this villain and this part of it. What if we really open this world up? Because all we see is the princesses and the good side of it, or whatever good is. I believe a lot of queer and LGBTQI people, I believe a lot of queer and LGBTQIA plus people identify with Disney villains because we go through being so misunderstood. And I believe a lot of Disney villains are misunderstood, like Ursula, for example. She just wanted her sea back. She just wanted her sea back. Tremaine, if you really look at that story, she just wanted her daughters to have a happy life. And I think a lot of the times when it comes to queer people, we identify with these characters because queer people as a whole, we've been fighting. We have to fight our whole lives just to be seen a little bit. And a lot of these villains, especially Disney villains, they're fighting to be seen. I went through a big surgical procedure. I guess I could show you guys, like, this is the cut down my stomach, if you can see it or not, I don't know. And then there's also one here. About, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years ago, my intestines tied around itself. And I woke up and I was dating someone at the time that I shouldn't have been dating. I had people living in my house that shouldn't have been living in my house. I had just lost my job. I woke up and I tried to go to the bathroom. I couldn't, and I just started throwing up. And I was throwing up, and I was throwing up. And I was rushed to Grady. Don't ever go to Grady Hospital. They will misdiagnose you. And they said that it was just bloating. I came home the next day. That evening, it happened again where I was throwing up and I was throwing up, and they had to do an emergency surgery on me. And I had to wear a colostomy bag for about 3 months. I did not stop filming. I think I took I think it was around the time Empire came out. And I got depressed, and the reason why I got depressed was I was watching Empire, and Jussie Smollett had came on the screen, and I broke down. And I was like, that was supposed to be me. That's supposed to be me. I'm never going to get there. Like, this is holding me back. I had my moment, I had my emotional moment, and I broke down, and something just kicked in me where I was like, you gotta get back up. You got to get back up and you got to keep doing this. I think that, first of all, I think when you are a gay person and you're young, there's a lot of pressure on appearance. And being in Atlanta, there's so much pressure on appearance and who you're associated with and all that. When I had my surgery, I did not want to see anybody because I was ashamed of who I was. I had a bag, so I felt like, okay, if I go somewhere, it might leak and I might be ashamed. So for those 3 months, I literally sat in the house because I was scared of what the world would see me as. I was dating someone at the time, and I did not feel sexually appealing to him. And a lot of that had to do with my perspective. on how I saw myself. It didn't have anything to do with these people or if I go out and it happens. A lot of that was created here. And if I look back and if I go back and I tell myself, I would have been like, okay, you're good. Like, you're still beautiful. I think I overcame it because I just looked in the mirror and I just saw, I looked at myself and I was like, oh, you are beautiful. Like, I just started telling myself that again. And it took time. Even now, like, I get a little embarrassed about my scars sometimes when I post pictures, because I was posting a lot of like revealing pictures back then before my scar. But even now, it's still kind of like a little trigger where I'm like, if a guy touches my stomach or if they ask about it, I'm like, here we go. We got to have this fucking conversation. But I think that the more that I talk about it, the better it gets for me to heal from it. The next thing for me is I am in the process of branding Queen of the Ratchet even more than it already is. I've started a podcast with it. I've did merchandising, but my next step, because I've written a lot of shows, is really just stepping this up to the next level. And the conversations I've been having with myself is getting to the point where I can get to the level of Tyler Perry and Oprah and Lee Daniels and these people that hire Black people. And I want that same thing for Black people and LGBTQ people. And so my next step is just pushing towards getting to that next level of how do I get, because I understand how to create the brand and the content. Now I want to understand how to hire and change other people's lives. If I could go back and give myself one piece of advice that I know now that I didn't know then, I think I would just say, fuck them, you're beautiful. Because a lot of the times as a child, I wanted people to validate myself instead of seeking that validation from myself. Hi, I'm Joshua Gilyard, or you can call me Queen of the Ratchet. This is my story, and I'm fucking sticking to it. Bye, bitches.